All right. The Eagles lost. Jalen Hurts played one of his best games, but the Eagles lost. The defense did not show up. There's not any excuses we can give for it. We didn't play the best game that we could. I've said all off season that the way that the Eagles would lose is by beating themselves, and arguably that fumble by Jalen Hurts probably ended the game. It cost the game. The defense could not stop the offense, and that one mistake led to the touchdown. That was, basically the difference maker. They don't get that touchdown, they don't win that game. But am I down? Am I over here gonna cry on camera? Not on camera. I did it earlier. I'm not that upset. Look, it hurts to lose in the Super Bowl, but it feels good to get there, especially when you feel like you're ahead of schedule. There's no excuses. This sucks. There's no silver lining. At the end of the day, you have to eat this. You have to wear it on your sleeve. You got to live with this. This is going to be what Philly is going to be thinking about for at least the next 5-6 months, right? At least. Maybe the Sixers do something. Maybe the Phillies start off hot, but at least until that happens, this is what we're going to be thinking about. We're going to be thinking about the Eagles. And it hurts, but we're going to talk about why I feel there is a little bit of positivity to look at into this. And we're also going to talk about what went wrong. So let's get into it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. I know y'all thought it was gonna be a cooking channel by now, but it's not. I'm still an Eagles fan. It still go Birds, and the Cowboys are still trash. So congratulations to y'all for watching us lose. But other than that, we you know what time it is. Right? We gonna talk about all this. We're gonna talk about what went wrong. We're gonna talk about some good things that I did see. And before we do get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family, man. We are on the road to 5K. We would love for you guys to, join the ride. Bring some chips, bring some malta. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a good road trip. So let's get into it, man. Look, Jalen Hurts. I'm going to start there. Jalen Hurts, from the beginning of this season, I have been called a Jalen Hurts hater. I've been called whatever you want to call it, a critic, whatever you want to, whatever word you want to use, I've been called it. I've been told I'm far too critical of Jalen Hurts, and I think that everybody will be happy that I'm saying this. There is not one iota of blame that we can give Jalen Hurts for yesterday's game. Now, don't get me wrong. That fumble was out of character, and it was a rough thing to happen. But in the Super Bowl, you need your team to play as a team. The defense needed to pick him up. They didn't. He picked himself back up and went out and got that touchdown right after that. There is no blame I'm going to give Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo on what Jalen did yesterday. He went out there and balled the heck out. And if you cannot see that, you're probably either a Cowboys fan, a 49ers fan, Deebo Samuel's still talking, or you're just a hater. Like, at this point, there's no other way of saying it. Jalen Hurts has proven that he is a guy that belongs in this league, and he is a guy that belongs on a team that made the Super Bowl. Also, another good thing that I saw, look, Devontae Smith is something else. A.J. Brown is a dog, and I think when we got A.J. Brown, we were all like, oh, we finally got our number one guy. He's going to be that superstar receiver. We are watching the maturation of Devontae Smith, and it is beautiful. That man makes some incredible plays, makes some incredible catches, and he is just Joe Cool, man. He is just solid through and through. Dallas Goedert had an incredible game, made some big catches. Our running game didn't do as well as, obviously wanted to, but we saw a lot of Kenneth Gainwell. I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if that's a little bit of foreshadowing what's going to happen this offseason. I'm not really sure, but it was interesting that we saw a lot of Kenneth Gainwell. It was interesting we saw a good amount of Boston Scott. Miles Sanders didn't really get going, so it's interesting to see that. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I will say it's good to see that, Kenny Gainwell's out there making big plays, had a couple good plays. Look, everything that went good was on the offense. I'll be 100% honest. Did I like Nick Sirianni doing the, first down when, or whatever it was when they overturned the call? Yes, I did, actually. I did, because that was a catch. And for them to overturn it made zero sense. If you're going to be sitting there for 10 minutes, it's obviously not that clear and obvious. But I have nothing wrong with what our offensive guys did, from the coach to the players. I have no problem with it. Now let's get into what I do have an issue with. I will say, and I put this out on my Twitter yesterday night after the game. We had questions about this defense, not necessarily about if they were good or if they were bad. We knew that they could go out there and make plays. The coordinator is what got us really worried. And at the end of the day, the coordinator is really, in my opinion, what kind of messed this up. There was a lot of things that went wrong, and you can sit here and say the field was a mess and it kind of was tough for players to get their footing. Happened to both sides, right? You can, and I kind of attest that to our pass rush. If I'm being 100%, and that's not an excuse, because you saw Chris Jones wasn't able to get footing on the other side either. So I think that it was a little bit tough for both teams to get their pass rush going because they couldn't get their foot in the grass, which that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time the NFL needs to figure out, because you can't have those type of issues at the biggest stage in football. Obviously, if we won, I would still be talking about it because we almost saw Jake Elliott get his ankle twisted on a kickoff. So it's not stuff you want to see, but I will say the defensive coordinator, your job, and I've been saying this all year, is to adjust. When things are not going the way that you plan them, adjust, make a new decision, make a new way of making it work. We saw nothing. We saw no changes. We saw more man than we ever saw, and we were getting smoked. We were getting smoked in the end zone. It just made no sense. If Jonathan Gannon is going, that might be a blessing in disguise, if I'm being 100% honest. And as an Eagles fan, I feel like I've said this about a couple guys now. I've said this about Jim Schwartz when he was on his way out. I'm saying it now about Jonathan Gannon. But I just don't feel he knows what he's doing, if I'm being 100% honest. I think that he can put a good game plan together, but once that game plan doesn't work, it's a wrap, and he just looks lost. Taking nothing away from the Chiefs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes went out there and balled out. Patrick Mahomes is a special player. Kansas City Chiefs have one of the best coaches in the league. Travis Kelce is a special player, hard to stop him. And their guys made big plays, man. Obviously that fumble, I think, between that fumble and that penalty at the end, which James Bradbury said that he pulled his jersey. So we can feel however we want to feel about that call. He owns up to it, so we got to eat it. Look, between that penalty at the end and the fumble, those are really the two things that I think we're going to harp on this offseason and we're going to think about a lot, man. I know I am, but it came down to the defense having to make one play, and they just couldn't. They just didn't, and we are now looking at winning the Super Bowl. That's our next goal. Okay, last year we were talking, let's get in the playoffs. Let's get a playoff win. Now it's let's win this thing. Let's win this thing. I'm not mad, man. I'm not mad. And look, God cut off my video, so I had to redo this ending. You know what I'm saying? And the first ending, I was talking mad junk, and I was like, it is what it is. Y'all can talk all the junk y'all want, but we got, it's a blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I got a balloon. Look, I got a balloon. It's a Super Bowl balloon. And I'm going to do it again. The Eagles made the Super Bowl. So if your team is not a Chiefs, if you are not a Chiefs fan, if you ain't got no Patrick Mahomes jersey on, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Congratulations, you got to see us lose, and I'm happy that that's a win for you in some weird sick way. Some weird sick way. Cowboys fans are like Joe from You, stalking us from behind the bushes, talking about it was you that gave me that loss that made me feel so good. Stop it. Y'all sound corny. Shout out to Debo Samuels. You're corny. Yeah. All these people that are talking all this junk about a team that lost by 3 points. 3 points. Corny. Okay? Corny. Popcorn. If it heats up a little bit more, if y'all moved out to Florida with this heat, y'all be popcorn. That's how corny y'all are. I do have a balloon. You see this balloon? That's a Super Bowl balloon. Let me see your Super Bowl balloon. You ain't got a Super Bowl balloon. Your balloon popped a long time ago, so I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it from nobody unless you are a Eagles fan or a Chiefs fan. I don't got to hear nothing about your opinion about this game, but go off. Get your rocks off. Go talk that junk on Twitter and get your views. So cute. So cute. But, next year when you guys are talking about Dak owns the division, let's remember that it doesn't matter unless you win the whole thing, right? So the last 30 years of your – let me shut up. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking in the comments. How do y'all feel about this game? Who was at blame? Let's just talk. We're going to talk a lot more. I'll go live pretty soon. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is fly equals fly. And forever and always, we will be out here. Peace!
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
touch